Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Welcome to Saturday Night Dialogues. It is April the 26th, 2025. That was such a beautiful song that was created by our amazing brunette grand on behalf of our lovely string bean. It was her birthday this week. We know I call her garlic string beans. We wanted to wish her a very special happy birthday. Thank you, brunette grand, for putting that beautiful song together. All right, folks, let's get rocking and rolling. Let's jump into some prayers, quick announcements, and jump right into this call. A lot that we're going to share with you tonight. And folks, it is getting, in fact, someone posted in the room just the other day, it's getting hotter and hotter every single day. What Goldilocks is dropping on us with regarding the RV. And all of it is in writing, right in our face. People are getting confirmations from their banks. Everything is lining up. Father God, we thank you as always. We give you gratitude. We give you grace. We give you honor and glory for allowing us to be here once again as a tribe, as a family, as a community. We thank you for even blessing us with this opportunity and this blessing to be a blessing to others. We ask that you allow everyone and anyone that's listening to this call to open their minds, their hearts, and their eyes so that they can wake up and understand and know that they are listening to the truth of which they can actually read and vet, understand for themselves without having to depend on listening to someone else that has mind control over them, and also so that they don't have a lazy spirit to believe just anything that is being told to them, whether it's here or anywhere else. So, Father, we ask you and we glorify you. We give you all the praise, the honor, and the glory in your precious name. Amen. All right, folks, real quick. The Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room has new hours. We are still Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, on the weekends, we are now closed. It is time that we, two things. One, begin to take care of ourselves. We sacrificed a lot to make sure that you all had the information needed to establish your relationships and get structured with your banks, with the actual banks and the bankers. And it is at a point where you all, for the most part, you know what you're doing. You're set up. And one thing, Wiley and Goldilocks and myself, we want to make sure that you don't need us anymore. And it will come to a time when the room closes and the RV happens, we're gone. So Saturday, we're going to be closed. We're going to get our rest, get ourselves together. And then, and secondly, it is for you all to realize, and maybe, how can I say this? For you to be under the mind frame to get yourselves prepared. Because there's going to come a time where it's not going to just be Saturdays and the weekends that were closed, but closed for good. So it's two parts. We must take care of self. And actually, matter of fact, Brunette Grand, sort of something she posted in the room earlier this week, sort of put me in the mind frame. It's probably best that this is what we do. The Goldilocks team behind the scenes had been suggesting to me it's probably something that maybe I should do as well, especially, taking care of myself. So, folks, this is it. Weekends were closed. The Goldilocks team, especially Freedom Fighter, is going to make sure that he starts getting his rest. Also, thanks to Glass Half Full, who has been telling me to do the same thing in the room, and others, and of course She-Hulk. So this is where we're at. That's our new hours. And then, of course, again, when this event happens, we're gone for good. Next, we have Dee's Room. Dee's Room, of course, is where she drops tons of articles from all over the world regarding the global financial system, regarding the geopolitical environment, a little bit of everything that she drops in her room. Then we have the Crypto Finance News Room with Dave Rose Big Dog, where anything related to crypto, that's the room right there where you are able to get your answers. Then, of course, we have Goldilocks Global Banking News, which is your daily podcast that will not change. It will be your daily updates on the RV and what Goldilocks is providing. But, of course, when the room closes, that will cease as well. And although we're close to weekends, I want to make sure I let you know that, of course, Saturday Night Dialogues will continue on Saturdays, although we're closed for the weekends. So it will continue until we close the room. All right. Now, we have tonight some amazing folks with amazing updates. One person you've heard from before, two people brand new you have not heard from before. And then we're going to jump into the articles, which will be on how the Vietnamese dong will RV. Goldilocks actually has been showing this. More has come out this week to confirm. And then we're going to get into how all currencies will be taken in the new digital banking system. All currencies have been prepped for the new system. And then we will briefly touch on how Iraq prepares the new IQD, the new Iraqi dinar for the banking system. All right. Now let's jump right into our amazing updates. And of course, the one and only Peculiar Ram, the queen of the reading the articles, Messiah Kit. She will be with us tonight as well. I would like to go. We're going to have Mike in, Kathy, then Georgia Peach or G Peach. Mike N, if you are here, we're going to come to you first. We know that you got a fantastic update. I think I hear you, or I don't. Mike N.
Hey, how you doing, Freedom?
Great. How you doing? Good. How you doing, Sniper?
Good, brother. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Doing well. Man, you posted, folks, this is the one and only Mike, and I call him Sniper because this man, when Goldilocks posts articles overnight, I don't care when a time of the day or night it is, this young man, he gets into those articles, and when he comes to the room, he damn near breaks the articles down before I do. He is on time. He doesn't miss. That's why I call him a sniper. One shot, one kill. This brother reads. He does his research, and it actually has helped him tremendously, I would imagine, as he has gone on to establish his relationships. Because when he goes into with these bankers, he's on point. He don't miss. And so if you can give us an update on your latest that you posted to the room, my good man, we'll appreciate it.
Yes, sir. How you doing, everybody? Good evening. So,
right.
First off, I want to say I point this towards God. God has really been putting some people in my life that has kind of changed, the trajectory of what I've been doing. So this gentleman, remember last time we were talking, I told you about a guy that I bumped into on a random occasion. Well, after building a little bit of a relationship with this guy, come to find out he was a treasury manager for a tier 1 bank.
Okay.
He was a senior director. So after I building a little bit of a relationship with him, I asked, for some guidance for somebody in his bank. to be able to speak with one of the wealth managers there. He actually put me in touch with a young lady. This young lady is the director for the wealth management of their branch for their private wealth management.
Wow. Okay. Look at God.
Yep. Me and this gentleman, we built a lot of a relationship, kind of talking about things that are happening in real time. And all the information is perfect here in Goldilocks. Talking about the stablecoin acts, talking about, ERC tokens and some of the events that are going on. But speaking with this young lady, we actually were able to, in our first meeting, when we first started talking, we actually had a phone call and she went over some information with me and wanted to reschedule because after I sent the questions of what Wiley's questions,
Wiley's questions,
she wanted to set up a time. So we ended up talking Monday, and she kind of answered a little bit of everything. When I say everything, I mean she went in. She told me about her experience. She's got 30 years in the business. She managed one private wealth management company, whole team, and then she transferred to this place in 2022 and brought over the same things that she was already doing.
Okay.
So she's got 30 different wealth managers underneath her.
Okay.
That she manages, and she says that if I didn't gel with her, she would bring somebody in from out of town. Like she's got reach. She's not just what's in her office, but the different offices that are around. But speaking with her, she understood what I was trying to do. She brought up the idea of me actually setting up information or setting up a living trust.
Okay.
And she advised me that she would be able to have her in-house attorneys and tax people to be able to help kind of structure everything. So basically what they would be able to do is they would be able to break everything, write everything up, have it all together for me, for my trust, and I'd be able to take it to my trust attorneys. And they would she said we would even offer to get on the phone to be able to tell them why we structured things this way. So all we got to do is just push it through. So it would basically cut out the cost of me having to spend money with these attorneys because they put it all together for me. And then she also mentioned tax mitigation, or not tax mitigation, but tax strategies, where she's able to help cut clients and capital gains taxes, where she's able to kind of help find the best way to save you 3 to 4% on what you spend in taxes per year. So, and she's being that she's at the top where she's at, she's only taking herself 6 clients.
6 herself.
That's it. She's very busy. She says her team, her clients, her managers underneath her can take up to 60 to 70, but for her herself, she's only taking 6.
She's top dog. And you're going to be one of those 6.
She actually took a lot of. She was interviewing me at the same time I was interviewing her. She wanted to make sure that she knew who I was. She even had me, she sent me an email, and asked for me to kind of explain who I am, who my family is. So this way she can get a little, start to know a little bit about me. She also talked about setting up future events, because what they do with their clients is they have these private events where they invite people out to golfing outings, wine tastings, and other adventures, where she's wanting to invite me and my wife out there, so where we can get a chance to, at least meet each other in person.
So, excellent. So further building on that relationship, and see, once you're invited to these social events, this is like with Todd Too Pretty, where he went on the golf course, and we've got other members that wealth managers invited them to art exhibits and things of that nature. This is where more in-depth conversations can be had that, of course, they will be more comfortable with versus having them in the office at first. This is where they're really going to, and this is why I'm glad that you said that she sent you an email. She really wanted to get to know a bit more about you, because like you said, she wants to get to know you. She wants to establish a relationship to see if she wants to go further, to really open the door to that elite club where others in the room and members have already been invited. And that's what it sounds like she's preparing you for.
If she says she's very picky on who she chooses, and I had to
Mm-hmm.
kind of understand that. I mean, obviously she is kind of thought she doesn't need to talk to, she's got other people under her where she can kind of pass them along, and she left these spots open for people
Mm-hmm.
that she has a respect for, a relationship with, that she works with. They get referrals. And the gentleman that I've been
Mm-hmm.
speaking with, because I came in speaking with this gentleman, and again, this was not a normal coincidence of me meeting a guy and having these conversations with him, and he's thought
Right.
very highly of me in terms of what our conversations were, and he passed me
Mm-hmm.
along to her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, and I like how this has transpired for you. It's and also for you to share about she's only taken herself 6 clients and the 30 wealth managers under her, maybe 60 to 70, because there was someone in the room this week and others that are on the fence thinking, oh, don't these wealth managers, these bankers, they want our business so bad, it'd be okay if we just wait, wouldn't you think? I'm like, no, doesn't make no sense. That's guru garbage telling people they'll just wait, for a notification, blah, blah, blah. Folks, it does not make sense. That is not the way this industry works. The finance industry doesn't work like this. When you get to this level, you're dealing with wealth managers who will manage your wealth. They only have for them, it's about quality over quantity. They're not going to be begging for your business. They don't need your business. They, like this young lady with Mike N, she wants to get to know him to determine whether or not it's a good fit for the both of them. So she's not rolling out the red carpet for him just yet, but she's opening up the door. And I like how the first gentleman referred you to her, actually moved you up already by introducing you to her. And because of the relationship you built with him, and then now the relationship you're building with her, now she is going to introduce you into that club. Folks, this is not a situation. This is a chance of a lifetime. These bankers, it's not a case where the gurus have told people, oh, the banks, they're going to just be falling at your every beck and call, and they're just going to be hawking all over you for your business. You go in there and you demand high rates. You demand blah, blah, blah. Do you think, Mike, in any way, shape, or fashion, that is that's reality, especially now what you're dealing with?
No, absolutely not. Here, these steps that you guys put out there, even though I got put in this conversation with this young lady, I still went back to the basics of what I learned here at this room.
Excellent.
And that was
Very
following the
smart.
steps and being able to stand my ground in terms of staying grounded in dealing with these people. Because this is a serious thing. This is my life, my legacy, my family. And in order
Amen.
for me to make sure I'm making the right steps, I got to apply what I've learned. And I've learned nothing but knowledge from this group.
Absolutely. Wiley, you want to jump in here? I see you there, Wiley.
Yeah, Mike. I mean, sounds like you've grown from the last time we've even spoke to you, and you just keep stacking and growing on this, and that's the key to success. Is just keep building, keep stacking, and as long as they're going to put these people in front of you, that the scale is, and these attorneys, home run that they're going to do all that for you, and then all you got to do is just plug everything in because it's already built, and they just move it forward. So that's great maneuvering.
Thank you, sir. I've been applying a lot of what you guys have been teaching. And I mean, again, if I was in there talking about special sources or, I heard about these cabals or these people, they would have never talked to me. They really would have never spoke to me. But
And
being that I was able to kind of work from what you guys have provided. And I say this, I truly appreciate, Wiley, how you guys teach us about high net worth clients and what things we could do to step forward to build off of, because it really does work when you're speaking with these people. We and her talked for about 45 minutes, and I'm telling you, like, based off our conversation, I know that there's a future here that we can continue to build on.
And that is key. Is we're trying to give you a mindset shift and a knowledge of awareness of how this works and how you go about the basics to get there. But you have to have a semblance of knowledge of how they work on their side and how they're able to assist and help you and what that entails. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels because you don't know what's coming. And I'm sorry to say, that's where a lot of these other people are going to wind up because they don't have the money mechanic basics that a wealth manager can do.
Mm-hmm. Also, what I really like, Wiley, is how they've already began to prep him for his trust, where, like with other members, he's not going to pay a dime for it.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And any type of wealth management, the attorney's always the most expensive piece because that is a layer of protection. And like I say, nobody appreciates a lawyer until you need one. And that's the last time, that's the last place you want to be, is needing one and don't have one. So good on you, Mike, for like I say, keep layering, keep growing, keep building relationships, because that's how you learn and will build in this. This kind of stuff isn't set it and forget it. Money has to be managed. And you have to be the captain of your own destiny and your ship and tell your crew what you want to do so that they can go take that and move that forward. So, Mike's one of those guys I don't worry about freedom. I really don't. He comes to the room. He's prepared every morning. He's got the notes. He's broke it down. I'm like, okay, class is dismissed. We don't need to say anything.
Right. Exactly. Beautiful, man. And it's paying off for you, Mike. And we're so proud of you, man. You're doing such an amazing job. And your family and your future, your legacy, they're going to reap the benefits of your effort and your work here in the room to get yourself prepared, and you're to be commended, man. Thank God, like you said, God brought you the people. He sent you the angels on your path, with this gentleman that you met, and then him to refer you to this young lady who is the director of the wealth management department, whereby she is over 30 wealth managers. She'll only take 6 herself. Clients, and then her team will take on 60 to 70. Man, it's only going to, and then she's going to invite you to these social events with other high net worth individuals as well. That's
man,
she's up there.
I call those lunch and learns, because what you can gather at those things, and you can find out who their people are. And good on you, Mike. You asked this guy you knew, hey, if you had somebody, who would you use? Man, that is how you do it.
Yeah, I kind of learned, here I've learned this a long time ago, and again, with what's been put in front of me, you really don't know. You're really one handshake away from being able to change your life, and sometimes it's just about being prepared for it. And you guys absolutely helped us get prepared for these opportunities from us.
Yeah, and we're so happy for you, and it makes us happy that you were able to take what we've given and apply that and become successful, and that's our reward, and that's why we do these calls. And they help so many people downstream to hear your successes and what you've done, because many people go, I can do that? And me and Freedom are like, yeah, you can go do that.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who might know the Nike commercial, you can be like Mike if you want. You can be like Mike. Congratulations, my good man. It's only going to get better from here.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. We appreciate you. Yes, sir. All right. Kathy, if you can unmute my good lady. Kathy, I see you. If you can just unmute.
I am unmuted.
How you doing, young lady?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Yes,
How are you guys?
Doing
Good.
well, thank you. Doing well. You posted an update in the room the other day, and you've been a member for a while. You just been getting yourself together, I believe, right?
Working on it. Yep.
So if you could share this awesome update that you posted in the room, you would.
Sure.
We would love it, and I know it's going to inspire people all over the world.
Okay, I'd be happy to, and I love to inspire people as much, as we have in this group. It really gets you excited, and it's exciting to see things happen. following the
Right.
plan. Yep.
Yeah.
So my wealth manager at my tier 1 bank emailed me the other day because we communicate, periodically. Kind of, I always ask him questions and stuff. So he invited me to a private client event. Where they're going to bring in a bunch of chefs from the city and do it at the big art museum that we have here, and that's next Tuesday. So I'm really excited because it's the first of this type of thing I've gone to with other private clients. So
and folks that's listening, when she's going to be meeting these other private clients, these are already high net worth individuals, millionaires, that are already clients of this firm that she's being introduced to.
Right. Yeah. So what I've been not trying to figure out, that what I want to do is make sure I'm ready to make the most of it. So looking at, what my goals are, basically to grow my network, right? In order to learn more. I have a lot to learn, that's for sure. And then if you let us go away after this, I'm going to really be needing help.
No, you'll be all right. You're on your way.
Yeah. So it'll be good. So that's my goal. So I'm really excited to go. So I'm going through all the notes I've pulled off, like Wiley's notes and stuff. I guess specifically what I'd like to do is find, obviously grow my network, meet people, but then also look for my mastermind groups and that type of thing, where I can get involved. So.
Okay, excellent. And this art exhibit is on Tuesday, you said, right?
Correct.
Okay. And now, will this be the first time that you're meeting face to face with the wealth man? I know you guys have been communicating over email.
Yeah, we've met. We've met a few times, and then he had his corporate trust attorney in town about 2 months ago. So I took in my trust for her to go through, sent it to him. And so we've kind of gone through that, and I'm just waiting for the final to come back from the attorneys.
And then has to go through compliance.
Right. Yeah. Through compliance here, and then at my private wealth managers place too. So, and then get rolling and set up my trust accounts, and then I'm ready.
Now I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was a very key part that I didn't know that you had already gone through the process to begin having the trust set up. That's huge.
Yeah, it's a good thing. So what I want to do is when it revalues, when the funds are accessible, I just want to be able to move them into my different accounts and then have the plan implemented. Because it was Wiley mentioned earlier. I don't want to be worrying about it. I want to enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And at least have the groundwork in place.
Right. You've laid the foundation.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the plan.
And now with them, and now it makes sense to me now that they've invited you to this art exhibit with these other millionaires, because you've already established your relationships with them enough to where they now want to bring you into the club.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's what's going on. Wow.
Yeah, Freedom. She's impressed them. And Kathy, you've impressed them enough that they're like, we want to move you to the next level. We want you to rub elbows with clients. You're the caliber of person we want. And Kathy, can you imagine trying to do everything you're doing right now, day one? Say this happened tomorrow. Could you imagine going out tomorrow and trying to figure all this out and get all that what you've got done happen and have this structured in place and your money protected and
right? No, I mean when you think about it, I mean everyone's going to be amped, right? We're all going to be really excited, and sometimes you can't think straight in those sort of situations. It would take you some time to calm down to even figure out which way to go.
100%. And this way, if I build the relationship slowly, going in there methodically with some knowledge and armed with some facts, you were able to elevate yourself to somebody like Kathy's the kind of individual we want to work with. Let's see what she's got. And they just keep layering it up for you more and more and more. So you're well on your way, girl. You really are.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting. Thank you guys for all the help. I mean, the perspective is different. It is a mindset, and it's fun to change it. I kind of notice it in conversations with some of my friends that have substantial funds. Like our conversations have started to change.
Well, trust me, it'd be real easy for me and Freedom to do what everybody else does out there. It's so easy to pick up, start charging people for every little click and everything you do on a site, but that's not what we're about. We want people to understand that these entities you're going to are professional businesses. And it's going to take professionalism to put that foot forward to introduce yourself in a professional manner to be taken seriously.
Hey, Wiley, you just said something that made me think. If we wanted to, we could do this. We can do the same foolishness, conference calls, high level sources, even though we have the real high level sources, and all this other stuff, and charge for. But they can't do what we do. These gurus can't do what we do, because what we have is very specialized knowledge and information based on our real life experience in the banking industry, and with Goldilocks at the top.
Well, not only that, to have bankers call us and tell us, you guys are on the money. What you're doing is correct. What you're saying is right.
That's awesome.
They don't do that because they're trying to build us up. They don't owe us anything.
No.
They're kind of thankful that people are walking through their door with a semblance of reality.
Right. Because, and you know, Wiley, firsthand better than anyone on this call, is how in the past the banks were bombarded with the foolishness by what the gurus are putting out. So this is a refresher, Kathy, that you and many others are coming in solid and seasoned with information, proper information.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they do. I mean, they enjoy it. I mean, you can tell that they're enjoying the conversation. Once they have a feel, and it's fun. It's really fun. I so much look forward to moving forward and learning more and growing this stuff.
Do you ever wonder, Kathy, how many people they had to go through to get to you, though? I guarantee it was several dozens.
She's laughing.
You are a breath of fresh air that walks into their bank doors, and when they saw your questions, like, I want to sit down with this person. Let me get her an appointment so we can visit. A lot of people get blown off. We've had people like you, Kathy, come to us and say, "Yeah, I was in the bank and I heard the bank dismiss somebody just immediately that they wouldn't work with them."
I believe it. I believe it. I have a friend. I went in with a friend early on before finding you guys, and it was right after finding you guys, and tried to say, "Don't say," tried to coach her. So we happened to be out at lunch, so I just went in with her, and it was interesting. I mean, they just turned off as soon as they started hearing all the guru stuff. So.
Yeah. And I really love, Wiley, how she was invited to this art exhibit, because as you have posted and shared in the room several times, folks, when it comes to wealth, this is where the wealthy are able to move money to expand their wealth and their network. A lot of it is through art.
It's 100%. And what you want to do is network with these people and find out who their networks are, and if you can plug into them as well. It's always about learning the next level, the next step, the next person. And like Mike said, you're only one or two people away from being where you want to be.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and I love art, so it all fits.
And if you didn't, you just act like you do when you're with them.
Well, they're having food there too, so they're having chefs come in, so that wouldn't be too hard.
They're having a chef come in?
Yeah, they're bringing in some of the top chefs in the city to do the tastings and things.
Beautiful. And there was another, maybe one or two other members that were invited to an art exhibit. I don't know if it was CVC, RO, or someone. If you're here on the call right now, I want you to join Wiley and Kathy with myself. Yeah. Raise your hand. I forget who it was, but I want people to see that there's other members in other states that the wealth managers have invited them to an art exhibit. I forget who it was. If you're on the call, raise your hand. I just want to acknowledge it was RO. Okay. There you go. RO, you can unmute, my wonderful lady.
Good evening.
Good evening. You were invited, yes, to an art exhibit. What was it, last week, the week before?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
How is it?
Yeah, it was well, they were the major sponsors for this art exhibit, and this was the opening.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, I
And
think
it
we're
was,
gonna have a lot of fun on this.
and it was 20 plus existing high net worth clients, basically 20 plus millionaires, right?
I'm not sure the guest list, but there was several invited. I know that much. I was talking to the portfolio manager.
Okay. Wow. So yeah, you had fun, and Kathy, I know you're gonna have fun too, right up your alley. But this is what I'm saying, where various members, and there was someone else too, but I remember I knew RO, you were one, where you were invited by your wealth management firm to an art exhibit. This is when, Kathy, you're invited to the club.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And
We're
now, mind
excited.
you, your network will always equate to your net worth. The more you network and the better caliber of people you put in your network will help you grow your net worth. So always equate those two with one another.
Yeah, I will. And it's I can see how that would be so very true, but up or down, right?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Especially when you get in those circles. Those are the caliber of people you want to understand, hey, grow with them and what they're willing to share with you. If these people give you their time, it's priceless.
That's right.
Well, I'm very excited, and hopefully, I look forward to making those connections and
We're
and
excited
learning.
for you,
There's so much
Kathy,
to learn.
and jumping out there in just a short order, getting set and getting settled and getting your plan in place, because that's what it takes, folks. You got to take that step. You got to get out there. And mind you, folks, if you want to work with some of these banks and even do an exchange with them, you have to be a client for a minimum of 30 days.
Yep. Yep.
Get off the fence and let's go. Time's getting short for a lot of you.
Yeah. And for those that you're not understanding what Wiley's saying, what he's telling you is, in order to exchange, you must have an account. Banks aren't you can't just walk into a bank with a whole wad of foreign currency and say, hey, can you exchange it? They're going to want to know who you are. They're going to need to do a KYC, which is know your customer. If you don't have an account, they're going to open an account for you, but you're going to have to wait a while before you can do your exchange, because they're going to do checks on you. Yep. So if you're thinking you're just going to wait, okay, that's your choice.
And that's why, Kathy, you getting off the fence or learning or finding out about us and just getting out and getting and doing this, good for you, because that's what it's going to take in this. You have to be the captains of your destiny.
Right.
Yep, I agree. And and I download your site, Wiley, about every other day, so I always have the most updated.
So you make sure you get the latest and greatest Wiley nuggets.
Well, some of that's pretty advanced. We have a lot of people that are way farther along than others, and I get asked different questions and things. So I try to cater to everybody, but it'll probably slow down.
Yeah, it's good to know, though. It's good to have a roadmap.
But the not just Freedom Fighter and I have to disappear to get away from you all. It's like we want to go back to our private lives, and that forces you all to move forward, not rely on us as well. Our goal was to never be a crutch for you forever. Our goal was to get you to the level you need to be so that you can get new mentors in all your lives, and that can move all this forward for you and give the hands-on approach that Freedom and I can't do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the time that you guys have put into this, I mean, and on all the Goldilocks people, is amazing. And I very, very much value that and appreciate it.
Well, we did it because we don't like seeing good people being lied to.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, we would love to hear your update after you have your great art exhibit with all these high net worth clients, these wealthy clients that they're going to bring into the club with. It's going to be awesome. Oh, and I can't forget the delicious food with all these chefs coming in to cater and all that stuff.
Yeah, by all means, enjoy yourself. Now at work, take some notes. Don't be afraid to pull your phone out, put some stuff in your notepad. Hey, follow up on this. Find out what that was.
Yeah, good point.
I do that constantly.
And ask a lot of questions to these folks, whoever you meet, because one thing about wealthy people, that when you are when they see you in the club with them, one thing they love to do is they love to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So ask questions, let them talk, and you'll learn a whole lot.
Right. That's why I'm working on my questions now. I just want to have like a battery of a few questions I can run by people.
Beautiful. Quick question. I know the answer. I'm sure Wiley and I know the answer. To do all of what you've done so far, can you tell the people listening how much have you paid for access? How much have you paid to meet with these people that are setting you up with these wealthy millionaires? How much have you paid?
Nothing.
It only cost you your time and energy to learn. That was
That's
it.
it. That's it. Beautiful. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's so exciting. We're so happy for you, young lady.
Thank you very much. And I will do an update on Wednesday.
Thank you, beloved. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right. And I think Georgia Peach hasn't made it on yet. If you have, raise your hand. We'll acknowledge you. If not, we're going to move on. Georgia Peach, going once, going twice. I don't think you've made it. That's okay. So, folks, if you listening to this, you heard Mike and you heard Kathy, and you all hear so many members every single day sharing their updates on meeting with their bankers and wealth managers. They're taking the steps that we share in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room. A part of those steps, then they get the Wiley questions, which is a part of the 8 steps, and they proceed to establish their relationships. This is what, just imagine Kathy's meeting with other wealthy, these are high net worth individuals, folks, for clients. These are at a minimum for a wealth management firm, minimum $1 million in assets. So she's meeting with other millionaires. She's not paying for this access, but based on her relationship that she's been able to establish. And then Mike N as well, and others who you hear from, not just on our Saturday calls, but daily in the room. What I would like for anyone that has established your relationships, I want you to, let's do an exercise. Now I'm thinking about this. If you've established your relationships, put your hand above your head and you bend your arm at the elbow and put your hand behind your back and pat yourself on the back. You, the 1%, you have graduated within this investment to a level that no one else, the other 99% has not done. Pat yourself on the back. You have prepared yourself. You followed the steps. You now are structured, or you're in the process of being structured. Many members who they have already signed agreements with wealth managers who, because they are licensed fiduciaries and they establish these relationships, many of the wealth managers have already agreed to exchange our members' currency for them at higher rates that they will negotiate. How is that possible? Because these wealth managers are licensed fiduciaries. They are licensed because they can do that. They have that ability because they already do business with the banks because they're licensed wealth managers. They have that ability and that legal right to exchange currency on behalf of their clients. That's what many of our members are going to be doing. These relationships also whereby our members with these wealth managers in the structure, they'll be able to provide and build a legacy for their family and their future. That's because of those of you who have either established your relationships or you are in process. Pat yourself on the back. You are the 1%. Another exercise, then we're going to get onto these articles. For those of you who have not established relationships and you are waiting on a notification that the gurus for the last 20 years told you was coming, I want you to do something. I want you to put your arm out in front of you like you're going to shake someone's hand, but raise your palm up to the sky. Raise your palm face up. I want you to ball your fist up and bend your arm at the elbow, point your fist towards yourself, and punch yourself in the face. That's what you do, because you are abusing yourself. You are waiting for a notification. Just punch yourself in the face. That's your exercise. Call 911, have the police come out, and when they come through the door, you tell them you punched yourself in the face. Officer's going to ask you, why did you punch yourself in the face? I was waiting on the notification. The guru said it's happening, and there's a delay every weekend, but the guru said for 20 years it's going to happen. It's going to be redemption centers. We're going to exchange and redeem these dragon bonds, these yellow dragons, these Zemmers for Remmers. The police officer might just take his billy club out and whoop your behind too and abuse you as well and call you a damn fool because you keep believing the foo-foo. That's what's going to happen. So 2 exercises. If you're waiting, punch yourself in the face. If you have established your relationships, pat yourself on the back. Let's get into the call. Peculiar Ram, you ready to get these? Go ahead, Wiley.
If we can, real quick, before you jump over, just real quick. If we could explain real quick that there's no such thing as a contract rate. There is a street and a market. That's it, folks. Street and market rate. The only way you get a higher rate is to sign a contract with a fiduciary who's licensed to do this for you so they can go negotiate a market rate for you.
Exactly. That's it. The gurus have completely screwed so many people up with the lies, thinking they're going to walk in and do a wink, wink, toe tap under the table with a bank teller and get a contract rate. Folks,
they don't exist. All right, Freedom. That's the only thing I wanted to expound on. I'm glad
you brought that up. Excellent. Right. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Peculiar Ram. I know you ain't got no bruises on your face. You ain't punching yourself you patting yourself on the back.
I was screaming just now when you was explaining. I thought you were going to say, stick your thumb out. Put it in your mouth.
Oh, for the nipple suckers.
Yeah. The nipple suckers and the people on the fence. Oh my God. Okay, I just let you guys know I have the baby powder if you guys want to do a slap instead of a punch.
Oh my God.
Force fisters, guys.
You're crazy. You're silly.
Oh, happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday. If some people drop off the call, we know they just abuse themselves. They punch themselves in the face. They were on the fence.
It's all right. It's all right. Y'all be all right. Y'all be all right. Oh, God, I was screaming.
I don't know what got into me to say that, but Lord have mercy. Pray for me. Pray for me. All right. All right, folks. Tonight, we're going to get to these articles. Vietnam. Goldilocks is. I spoke to Goldilocks when I spoke to Goldilocks. Actually, I spoke to Goldilocks several times today, and the last time Goldilocks and I spoke, what Goldilocks shared was that there's something that Goldilocks is going to share on Monday. That is a new development with Vietnam in regards to the Vietnamese dong. I'm not going to say too much about it because Goldilocks specifically asked me to keep the details confidential. So that's what I'm going to do. So be on the lookout for Monday. And it's going to, in the article, the first article that we're going to go over right now that Peculiar Ram is going to read is going to tie into it. But what Goldilocks is going to share on Monday is more in depth and concrete. All right. So let's jump right into this first one. I'll drop it right into the room. And let's get on into it. Floor is yours. Yes, ma'am.
To raise the value of the Vietnamese dong through a trade deal with the United States, Vietnam would need to address factors that influence its currency value, particularly in the context of its large trade surplus with the United States and perceptions of currency manipulation.
1 second, beloved. Boom. Folks, to raise the value of the Vietnamese dong through a trade deal with the United States, Vietnam would need to address factors that influence the Vietnamese dong's value, particularly in context of its large trade surplus with the United States and perceptions of currency manipulation. So just so that you all may not be aware, this is the key to the negotiations with the United States and why Trump put these tariffs on Vietnam and other countries. The trade surplus, as a reminder for those, and also for those who might be new, in 2024, with the trade deals with the United States and Vietnam, you see, the United States is one of Vietnam's biggest trade partners. And don't forget, Goldilocks has coined the phrase to watch the water. Why? Because this is where currency moves on the water in trade, whereby this is where the currencies will begin to move. Goldilocks has been saying this for 5 years. No one else has been saying this. For 5 years, Goldilocks 5 years ago said it was the tariffs that was going to be needed to be addressed on the water for trade. Watch the water. In order for the values of currencies to change. Fast forward 2025, Trump puts these tariffs on these countries. So the trade surplus that Vietnam has, last year, Vietnam and their trade deals, so that's the imports and exports with the United States, the United States, $123 billion the United States lost as in a whole in the negative with Vietnam in their trade with Vietnam, trading goods back and forth. Well, actually, more so goods from Vietnam to United States, not goods to Vietnam from the United States. This is all the goods coming into the United States from Vietnam. Vietnam has actually has put tariffs on the United States, but the surplus for Vietnam is 123 billion in surplus. So that's 123 billion in profit. Just last year, just last year, with the United States, 123 billion we lost. Total flip.
Wow.
So what this is stating is that must be addressed. Why must it be addressed, folks? Because and you have to understand all this trade between United States and Vietnam. In Vietnam, they're utilizing mainly the U.S. dollar for these trade, not using the Vietnamese dong. They have been devaluing, as it talks about currency manipulation must be addressed. They've continued to devalue the Vietnamese dong so that they can make this surplus of 123 billion. It's not fair trade. And we shared during the week where President Trump, going back to 1988 on the Oprah Winfrey Show, was talking about putting a 25% tariff on countries and trade. Did you get a chance to see that video, Peculiar Rand?
I did.
So going back, yeah, you did, because we talked about it in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Going back when Peculiar Rand was in diapers when President Trump was talking about this on the Oprah Winfrey Show. So this is the trade surplus. So this must be addressed. It's being addressed in the negotiations of these tariffs. This is why Trump, one of the reasons why he put these tariffs on all of these countries. Okay, the Vietnamese dong has weakened significantly. You can continue.
The Vietnamese dong has weakened significantly, trading near historic lows against the U.S. dollar, partly due to Vietnam's export-driven economy and a trade surplus exceeding $123 billion in 2024. A trade deal could strengthen the Vietnamese dong by improving trade balances, boosting foreign investment, and reducing U.S. concerns about currency undervaluation. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So now what Peculiar Ram is going to do, she's going to read to you the key points of what needs to happen in order for the Vietnamese dong to gain strength and value based on what President Trump is negotiating right now. Go ahead, young lady.
Below are key elements such a trade deal would likely need to include based on economic principles and current U.S.-Vietnam trade dynamics. Mm-hmm. Number one, reduction of the U.S. trade deficit.
So the trade
U.S. imports. I'm sorry.
Boom. There you go. You good, beloved. Reduction of U.S. trade deficit. One, increase U.S. imports. So Vietnam, what the negotiations looks for them to do is to allow the U.S. to begin importing into Vietnam many of our agricultural products, because right now we can't import just about nothing into Vietnam. They won't let us. Good, young lady. Then lower trade tariffs on U.S. goods, and then number 2.
Lower tariffs on U.S. goods.
So that means lower the tariffs. That means they got to lower taxes on us. So they import all these goods into the United States, but they tax us for it. They put tariffs. They put tariffs on us. So now this is saying they must lower the tariffs on the goods. Go ahead.
If that ain't pimping, I don't know what is. Number 2, addressing non-tariff barriers.
This is the barriers that that Vietnam has on the United States. They put barriers up, trade barriers, so that we can't import certain goods into Vietnam, but they can import whatever they want into the United States and keep devaluing the Vietnamese dong while at it, so they can continue making this huge profit and surplus in the back end. That's how they're making 123 billion in profit off of us, by keep devaluing the Vietnamese dong. Okay, currency policy reforms. You can read that whole thing.
Currency policy reforms. Vietnam is on the U.S. watch list for potential currency manipulation due to the Vietnamese dong's depreciation, which makes Vietnamese exports cheaper. A trade deal could include Vietnam agreeing to let the VND appreciate or stabilize through market-driven exchange rate policies. The State Bank of Vietnam could reduce interventions in the foreign exchange market, allowing the Vietnamese dong to strengthen naturally as trade balances improve.
As trade balances improve, this is where the negotiations are key, because what the Trump administration is in the process of negotiating with Vietnam is for there to be a balance, a fair balance in trade. They're making 123 billion. We're losing 123 billion. That is not balanced at all. That's abuse. Go ahead. I'm serious.
Commitments to transparency in currency management and adherence to International Monetary Fund guidelines could alleviate U.S. concerns, reducing the risk of tariffs that weaken the Vietnamese dong.
See, these tariffs, they're weakening. The tariffs that Vietnam has on us weakens the Vietnamese dong, because they're taxing us, but they're not even using the Vietnamese dong for these transactions. They're using the U.S. dollar because it's stronger. But at the same time, they're benefiting because they can export all of these goods. They're our number one importer. We get most of our exports, a large part of our exports from Vietnam, and they tax us, and they devalue the Vietnamese dong so that they can tax us in order to bring their goods into our country. Meanwhile, we looking crazy. We looking crazy. We got boo-boo on our face for all these years. So this is why that's going to change. It's going to boo-boo on our face. Yeah, that's not good. All right, you can go ahead. Continue, please. Number 4.
Combating transshipment and trade fraud.
Okay, let me explain what that is. And part of negotiations is that Vietnam must address combating transshipment and trade fraud. This is another way that they are weakening the Vietnamese dong. How? So let's say, for example, China, which is another large exporter of goods to the United States, what China's been doing is sending products to Vietnam in order to then be transported and imported into the United States. But when those Chinese products get into the Vietnam's ports, instead of it saying made in China, they'll put a sign on it saying made in Vietnam and then ship it to the United States. So therefore, this is called transshipment or trade fraud, where the original the original exporter or the original country, which is China, instead of sending the goods directly to the U.S., they send it to Vietnam and Vietnam will put made in Vietnam, send it to the United States, send the products to the United States, and the United States gets taxed twice.
Wow.
Because it's two countries that are sending goods to the U.S. So U.S. is getting charged 2 for 1. That's the tariffs on the United States that Vietnam is putting on the United States while they continue to devalue the Vietnamese dong. That's called trade fraud. And not until President Trump came in office did he put the people in place to do these investigations to determine that this is what Vietnam has been doing, Vietnam and China. You see why another reason why Trump slapped China with 110% tariff or something. He's hitting back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 5.
Number 5, encouraging U.S. investment.
This is encouraging U.S. investments for more U.S. companies to now have the right to go into Vietnam and invest and do business. That's more. Isn't that fair? They're here.
Yeah.
How come we can't go there and do business? That will also strengthen the Vietnamese dong, because as these investors go into Vietnam to do business, they'll be doing business in the Vietnamese dong, and all of these strengthen the Vietnamese dong. Not having the trade fraud strengthens the Vietnamese dong. Allowing us to do trade more in Vietnam strengthens the Vietnamese dong. Why? Because all of these transactions will be settled in Vietnamese dong. Okay. Number 6.
Number 6, intellectual property and labor standards.
So strengthening intellectual property and protections and aligning with labor laws and international standards. This is where more companies from around the world, especially the U.S., can go into Vietnam to build infrastructure and not have the labor restrictions to do so. Again, strengthens the Vietnamese dong. This is where the Vietnamese dong will begin to move more, not only in Vietnam, but around the world. And then again, Goldilocks will share something on Monday that will show the latest developments of the negotiations that will strengthen the Vietnamese dong. Okay, the next article I just dropped.
Vietnam and the U.S. have entered technical analysis negotiations. Technical analysis and market discussions on trade include foreign currency trading, also known as Forex. Technical analysis is a method of evaluating trading activity, including price movement and volume, which is applicable to all markets, including Forex. Forex is the market where currencies are bought and sold, and technical analysis is used to predict future price movements in these currency pairs.
Boom, 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 boom. So this technical analysis, folks, this is where, excuse me, this is where between the U.S. and Vietnam, they are looking at the digital, when it comes to technical, the digital means to make sure that everything that needs to be done within these negotiations to increase the value of the Vietnamese dong is done, and they've already done the analysis in order to make sure that everything goes through smoothly. That's the technical analysis that has been done, because you got to remember, everything within the new digital banking system is electronic. It's all digital. It's technical. So this technical analysis is to analyze everything electronically that needs to be done to move through the new system. Now, we're going to jump into the next one. The next, folks, the Bank of International Settlements. Names mean something. The Bank of International Settlements. The Central Bank of Iraq, the Central Bank of Vietnam, the Central Bank of the United States, and every country around the world has a central bank. And that central bank oversees that country's currency. So the CBI, the Central Bank of Vietnam, and all central banks actually answer up to another central bank. And that central bank is called the Bank of International Settlements. So think of it in a certain way that the Bank of International Settlements is the bank of all central banks. It's the boss, if you will, of all central banks, whereby the Bank of International Settlements sets standards, best practices for all central banks around the world to follow. So the Bank of International Settlements, what a settlement is, a transaction such as a foreign currency exchange is a settlement. Meaning you exchange your currency, you go in to exchange your currency from one currency to the other currency, it will be settled. A deposit withdrawal, that's a settlement. A settlement is a two-way banking transaction. So the Bank of International Settlements oversees banking transactions in all currencies because all central banks and the currencies that they govern are under the umbrella of the Bank of International Settlements. So we all know that we're moving into a new digital banking system. Tokenization is the electronic or the digital representation of an asset. What is the tokenization of gold? The digital representation of gold, silver, paper currencies. When they're tokenized, that means they're the electronic version of. So the dong, when the dong is tokenized, that means there's an electronic representation of the dong. Electronic representation of the dinar means that the dinar is tokenized. Electronic representation of the US dollar means the US dollar is tokenized. So the Bank of International Settlements last year and the year before started several projects to test all the central banks around the world, including the Central Bank of Iraq and Vietnam, to test their central banks, to test the banking systems to determine if they will be ready for the new digital asset-based trading system, which is the new banking system. This is the system, the banking system that we will exchange our currencies into. They've completed their test. Now the Bank of International Settlements is announcing something related to all currencies and how all currencies that were tested are ready to be exchanged in the new banking system. Okay, young lady. Now, there's a screenshot that Peculiar Ram is going to read, and then we'll get into this article directly from the Bank of International Settlements. Go ahead, young lady.
Project Promissa. Is that correct?
You got it.
Project Promissa. Tokenization of promissory notes.
Okay, pause. Promissory note, tokenization of promissory notes. Folks, if you have dong, if you have dinar, if you have bolivar, if you have any currency, that currency is called a promissory note. Some of you knew that. For some of you, this is going to be new. The real term for a currency is a promissory note because it's the promise to pay. For example, let me just give you an example. We know the value of the US dollar is $1 US, although that's not the real value, but that's what the value is. If you go to the store and something costs $1, and forget taxes, I'm just saying, using the example, $1, and you give them $1 to pay, well, that is that you promise to pay $1 for something that is valued at $1. Why is that a promise to pay? When you give them your dollar, that's a promise to pay what it's worth. That's why it's called a promissory note. If something costs $100 and you give them $100, you're promising to pay by handing over that $100 bill or whatever denominations that you give them, you're promising to pay $100 for the value of that good or service. That is because it's a promissory note. Now, I got to be clear. For those of you who are listening and you have these historical bonds that the U.S. Treasury has made it very clear that these historical bonds have historically been used and promoted as fraudulent and scams. Those are not promissory notes. On the back, they say to pay the barrier upon demand. If you have a collectible bond, you have a replica of something that is real. Therefore, it's fake. This tokenization of promissory notes is about currencies, not James Bonds. Not these boo-boo bonds that the gurus have convinced you all that are real, that the U.S. Treasury says is not. And this is not my words. This is from the U.S. Treasury, and also it's not on ISO 4217. And for those of you listening, if you have not done your due diligence to determine if these bonds, that these so-called bonds that you have are even recognized by the banking system, and if you have not diversified, reach your hand out, palm to the sky, ball your fist up, arm bend it, fist to your face. You know what to do. All right. Okay, you could go. You could go ahead. Hit the other side of your face this time, not the left side, right? Or the opposite side. Go ahead, young lady.
Draw it back real good too.
If you need makeup, ask Peculiar Ram. She might have some for you.
Got a little bit for you.
Covered up them bruises. Go ahead.
Okay. You want me to finish the rest of the article, correct?
Yes, please. To address the global challenge.
To address the global challenges of the 21st century, the G20 wants to deliver better, bigger, and more effective multilateral development banks through substantially increasing their financing capacity. Today, many multilateral development banks are partly funded by financial instruments known as promissory notes, most of which are still paper-based.
Okay, pause. 1 second. This is very, folks, listen. I would love for you to read this again and take your time, folks. Take your time, because you ran, folks. Listen to what she's saying. These financial instruments, folks, your currencies that we hold are financial instruments. They are financial instruments known as promissory notes, most of which are still paper-based. So the currencies that we have, aren't they paper-based? Yeah. Okay, read that once again, if you don't mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Today, many multilateral development banks are partly funded by financial instruments known as promissory notes, most of which are still paper-based. While the current system provides the operational controls for member nations to make subscription and contribution payments to institutions like the World Bank, the custody of outstanding promissory notes can be digitized to address operational challenges and enhance efficiency.
While the current system, so folks, this is directly from the Bank of International Settlements, the current system, which is the fiat system without assets backing it, provides the operational, so the controls for member nations. Folks, this is just all the countries, Iraq, Vietnam, U.S., others. For member nations, they're all members of the BIS, to make subscription and contribution payments to institutions like the World Bank, which is the bank of all banks, the custody of outstanding what? Promissory notes, which is for your currencies, can be digitized to address operational challenges to the old system and enhance efficiency. So this is telling us The Bank of International Settlements, through this project, Project Promissa, has announced the tokenization. So this is the electronic representation of our currencies. So what has to happen in order for them to take these paper notes, which they're saying is paper based? Today, many multilateral development banks are partly funded by financial instruments, aka paper currencies, known as promissory notes, most of which are still paper based. They're saying this is the paper currencies that we have. While the current fiat system provides the operational controls for member countries to make subscription and contribution payments to institutions like the World Bank, the custody of outstanding promissory notes or the paper currencies can be digitized to address the old fiat operational challenges and enhance efficiency for the new digital asset-based trading system. Because this is why it's telling us that the old promissory notes or the old paper currencies, because they are paper, now because of the old system, we tested the system, we can now digitize these paper notes. We can digitize these currencies, folks, because we're moving into the new digital asset-based trading system, the new banking system. There's another project called Project Meridian that Goldilocks shared last year. It's called Project Meridian Forex, Project Meridian FX. It's specific to currencies. That was completed last year. Now here they're talking about the tokenization. So this is the electronic representation of the dinar, electronic representation of the dong, electronic representation of the bolivar, the US dollar, so forth and so on. The Bank of International Settlements, the International Bank, the central bank of all central banks, is talking about this project. And the project goes live in 30 days from when this was posted, when they shared this. What's the date of this update from the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements?
April 23rd.
Mm-hmm. What year?
2025.
So that was just recent. Mm-hmm. Now let's jump into what Goldilocks is sharing from the Bank of International Settlements on this next update, which is very, very powerful when they go into more detail. Folks, you got to remember, the new digital asset-based trading system, which is the new digital banking system. For those of you who may not know, that you might be hearing it for the first time, the new banking system is digital. We're moving into a digital banking system. So this QFS, this quantum financial system that many of you have heard from, and the gurus have chopped up to tell you there's a QFS account, and these trolls that I'm sure are listening to this call who are in our room DMing members about, hey, how long have you been in the room? Do you want to hook up with the QFS account? Send me your password, all this garbage.
Yeah.
The QFS, quantum financial system, folks. The technical term is the new digital asset-based trading system. Everything is going digital. Our paper currencies, which are called promissory notes, are going to be digital. So one of the ways to collect all of these paper currencies into the new digital system, one of the few ways is a global revaluation. So people can bring their paper notes, their promissory notes, these paper currencies into the banks. Notice I didn't say into a redemption center that supposedly will just all of a sudden pop up, or supposedly is being constructed and built, which they've been saying for the last 20 years. Or the Piggly Wiggly, where you go in and redeem. These promissory notes will come into the banking system. You will have a digital representation of the value of what you have exchanged. This is the tokenization. This is the electronic representation of our currencies. And we're going to go into it a little bit to see how Iraq has announced that they're doing the same thing. They're just falling right in line with the central bank of all central banks, the Bank of International Settlements. Go, young lady, you can go.
Project Promissa, a joint initiative by the Bank of International Settlements, Innovation Hub Swiss Center, the Swiss National Bank, and the World Bank, with the IMF as an observer, aims to develop a proof of concept platform for tokenizing promissory notes using distributed ledger technology, DLT. While the project primarily focuses on simplifying the management of promissory notes, paper-based financial instruments used to fund multilateral development banks, it has implications for improving efficiency in financial transactions, including those potentially related to foreign currency exchange.
Boom. Pause right there if you don't mind, beloved. Folks, moving into the new digital banking system, they had to test the system to make sure that when currency exchanges occur, that they can go through the new digital system efficiently so that there's no hiccups and glitches. They've been doing this for several years now. And this was a global collaborative effort with all the central banks, with the Bank of International Settlements overseeing the testing of the systems. And all they're saying here is that through this Project Promissa, they've completed the test, and now 30 days from now, it will be implemented into the systems so that when the time comes, all of the banks will have the technology live, tested, and ready to move forward in preparation for any currencies that come into the banks in the new system. Go, young lady.
Below, I'll explain how Project Promissa could indirectly support banks in foreign currency exchange and provide a timeline of relevant developments with supporting articles or sources. How Project Promissa could help banks with foreign currency exchange. Project Promissa is not directly designed to facilitate foreign currency exchange, but could indirectly enhance related processes through its focus on tokenization and DLT. Here's how it might benefit banks in this context. Number one, streamlined transaction processes.
This is streamlined transaction processes, folks, means that this is more of a instant, single-sourced transactions, so that when you go into exchange your foreign currencies at these banks, they're ultimately rolled up to the central banks, but everything is going to be seamless, smooth, transparent. Go ahead, young lady.
Number two, cost savings and efficiency.
What this is, folks, is that when the new digital banking system, it's cost savings for the banks with the new digital technologies that are implemented into the banking system, and it's more cost effective for anyone that's going into exchange their currency or do transactions because it's on a distributed ledger technology. Therefore, it's not on the bank's books. This is where through distributed ledger technology on the blockchain, although the transactions will be at the banks don't control everything. We as people, as the customers, we have more control because it's distributed ledger. This is not on their books, on the bank's books, that is. This is whereby, and through the blockchain, we have more control of our money in the banking. Oh, I know some of you are thinking you'll be able to just take $1 million and just put it into your pocket. No. That I ain't talking about that type of control. There's still things that you have to go through the bank to facilitate. But just so that you know, whereby with distributed ledger, this is the blockchain. The exchanges will be done on the blockchain, folks. The blockchain is just the new digital banking system. All right. So when you hear these foolish comments about pallets of DINAR and all this garbage out in Reno and all these other foolishness, pallets of DINAR? Really? We're moving to a digital banking system? all those paper notes. We've been hearing this stuff for 20 years, folks. 13 years. I'm sure Wiley and others have been hearing about pallets of dinar all over the place for 20 years. For those of you new folks hearing it, it's not new. This is just guru vomit that's been regurgitated for all these years. Okay, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. Don't get excited when you hear pallets of nothing. All right, pallets of nothing. It's garbage. Okay, go ahead.
Number 3, enhanced transparency and security.
This is the transparency and security that I was referring to with when you go into exchange. Again, an exchange is a settlement. Both sides of the transaction will be settled. So what you exchange, how much you exchange, how much you're expecting to receive to for your account to be credited. Those are both sides. You have a responsibility to bring your currency in. The bank has a responsibility on their side to make sure that you have the proper transaction, the proper amount and settled for your transaction. So therefore, it has to be transparent. It has to be secure. The technology, the testing has been done in order to make sure that is the case. From the paper or the promissory notes, which are paper-based, which is the currency, the paper currencies we hold, will now be digitized. Because it's the DLT is the distributed ledger technology. That is the new digital banking system. Go ahead, young lady.
Number 4, potential for broader DLT adoption.
That's the distribute broader adoption of the new banking system throughout the world. Number 5.
Support for multilateral financial systems.
So this is where various systems, various banks, various financial institutions will be able to move the value of these currencies through the banking system electronically in a seamless fashion, because it's all tokenized. Okay. In fact, I'm going to read number 5. Since promissory notes fund multi-development banks, which is multiple banks, which often operate in multiple currencies. So this is banks that operate in multiple currencies. A tokenized platform could simplify currency conversions. Exchange is a conversion of currency. So the new system will simplify the currency exchanges needed for dispersing or repaying funds. This is the movement of the value of money in the new banking system, where this will now simplify the currency conversions or the currency exchanges, so that the value of that money, if you're going to exchange currency and you're going to move it to pay off a debt, to pay off a credit card, to pay off a loan, to pay off whatever it may be, it can move now through the system seamlessly, because that currency will be converted and moved through the new banking system. All right. Now, if you can go while project permissive primary focus, if you can read that last part.
Yes. While Project Permissive's primary focus is on promissory notes, its DLT framework could serve as a model for modernizing foreign exchange processes, particularly for banks involved in international finance. However, direct applications to Forex markets would require further development beyond the current scope.
Boom. Okay. So now what Goldilocks is sharing is that this specific project by the Bank of International Settlements primary focuses on promissory notes. So it primarily focuses on paper currencies in the new banking system to modernize foreign currency exchanges. This is the new digital banking system. This was done to modernize the new banking system. And when we have President Trump and his working group preparing for digital asset regulations, this is all in preparation for the new digital asset-based trading system to take our paper notes, our paper currencies, and digitize them in the new banking system. Does that make sense, Peculiar Rand?
It sure does.
All right, let's jump into Iraq. And we're going to see Iraq is doing the same thing right now. Go ahead.
Digital currencies to reshape Iraq's banking sector.
Okay, 1 second, beloved. And this is the actual title of the article, folks, from Iraq. Digital currencies to reshape Iraq's banking sector. Digital currencies. The Iraqi dinar and all currencies will be a part of this. There will digital. This is, again, I'm going to say this slow. And this is from Iraq. We just got finished talking about distributed ledger technology and digitizing promissory notes or digitizing our paper currencies. Iraq comes out with the article, Digital Currencies to Reshape Iraq's Banking Sector. What a coincidence. Go, young lady.
Date April 8th, 2025. Summary. Governor Ali Al-Alaq announced that digital currencies will play a significant role in transforming Iraq's banking system as part of the CBI's reform strategy with Oliver Wyman. The initiative aims to create a robust, innovative, and expansion-oriented private banking sector. The CBI is also planning to introduce a digital currency to replace paper notes and transactions with central banks, aligning with global trends in financial technology.
Boom. Right from Iraq. They're doing the same thing. Folks, this is global.
Yes.
No coincidence Iraq is announcing this after, remember, no coincidence that the Central Bank of Iraq is announcing this around the same time that the Central Bank of all central banks, the Bank of International Settlements, says that their Project Promissa has been completed. It will be implemented. Where the paper currencies, the promissory notes will be digitized. Iraq is saying the same thing. This is a top-down approach, folks. A global event. It did not say that the Central Bank of Iraq, folks. The governor Al-Alaq, that's the governor of the central bank. He did not say that this will be digitizing the dinar in Kurdistan.
Right.
little funky ass oil agreement that they would tell. What the heck?
Where?
They keep telling y'all about this dumb Kurdistan oil agreement, budget tables, and all this foolishness.
Oh my goodness.
This is not that, folks. And see, and there are many of you that are still on the fence, hoping, wishing, praying that what you're hearing by the nipple suckers is true, that what they're telling you. So you just wait and wait and wait and wait. Meanwhile, the members in the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, for the members that follow Goldilocks, they're prepared. Relationships established, going to art exhibits with their wealth managers, golf outings, getting their nails done, going to our members' homes for breakfast, lunch, going out to dinners, flying. Wealth managers getting on jets, flying to meet with our members 2-4 hours away, walking them out to their cars, winking, proposing, all kind of stuff, signing agreements to be their fiduciary, to exchange their currency on their behalf after the relationship is strong and established for our members. Our members are now waiting. They're not punching themselves in the face like y'all. They're not abused. Aren't you abused enough weekly on that roller coaster?
Right.
And then you hear delay. Oh, does it delay? Oh, does it delay? Oh, does it delay? After all, you continue to hear that. The only real delay is in your peace.
Yes.
But your greed, your need for greed to be a trillionaire is controlling you. And these gurus are like your puppet masters. You sold your soul to your guru daddies. But that's your choice. Your choice. That's your choice. We can't convince you to do anything otherwise. If there's just one of you who hears this message and you get off the fence and you establish your relationships, I encourage you to make your move. All right.
Can I just add also? I'm sorry. Can I just add also that we see every day the meetings and the negotiations that are happening globally, specifically, with the countries that we hold the currencies in, but globally, it's happening everywhere. These meetings are happening individually within the group. These meetings are happening. So you have the global meetings that are happening. Then you have us, the 1% of the 1% who are also meeting and negotiating. So it's kind of like, that saying, as above, so below. It's the same thing. It's mirroring. We're mirroring what they're doing, and everything is happening at a warp speed. So I agree. If anybody is sitting there and still want to be fed that mush crap that is feeding through you guys' algorithm in life, because you take that on. When you close out the app, you're still thinking about it. It's in your energy field. You're sleeping, you're dreaming about it. So you can come out of that place and be with us. Be with us in Iraq and Vietnam and all these countries, and even down to the people who are negotiating and having these meetings. It's so spiritual, and you can just see the mirroring. And if you want to be in alignment to what's going on, we suggest you hop on board. But it's just fascinating to see the meetings go on globally, and also hear the meetings every day within the group as well. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you for sharing that. And you yourself have your own personal experience whereby your wealth manager shared with you that his wife has foreign currency and he has foreign currency.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on, right?
Yep, absolutely. They know what's going on. And like Mike said, they're only going to take a certain amount of people. It varies from wealth managers to wealth manager, but for the most part, it's only about a good handful, you guys. These meetings are serious and they're intentional, from the very tip top of the countries to the last member who established their relationship yesterday. Like, that's how mirrored it is. And I'm just so happy to be a part of the group and to see it in real time.
I'm so glad you shared that, beloved, because it shows folks that there is no secret no secret people, no secret contacts, where the members, you have your own high-level sources, you have your own banker contacts, you have your own, you've had your own secret meeting. You had your secret meeting at a nail salon. And folks, this is so public that, like you're saying, as above, so below, where all this information that Goldilocks is sharing is in the public domain. It's just that people may not understand what's being posted, or they may not see what is being posted. But when Goldilocks provides it, then it's like, oh, okay. Then you can start connecting the dots. And then when they're in the room, Wiley and myself can break everything down, share it so that people understand it, and help to give you the guidance to go establish these relationships. And then you go and establish these relationships with the bankers, and you're like, hold up, that's what Goldilocks was talking about.
Exactly.
Wait, that's exactly what Goldilocks posted today. Oh, that's what Wiley and Freedom was shit. And that's the
alignment.
The alignment. There you go. That's the wording. That's it. The alignment. Exactly. When others are still, they're under the spell.
Yes.
Of the gurus to believe that they're going to that all they got to do is wait And it's the mind control, but it's their choice. We love them from a distance.
Yeah.
We pray for them. We wish them the best, and
Absolutely.
we move on. That's it. Wiley, you want to jump in here? Wiley, Mike, and Kathy, you want to come on in here?
Wally.
Hey, what's going on, Peculiar Ram?
Hey, Uncle Wally, how you doing, sir?
Good. You're always a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank
She
you.
sure is.
Thank
Yes, sir.
you.
Mike, you want to add it? Does all this make sense? I know it makes sense to you, Sniper. But I'm just rhetorical question.
I follow a lot of things, but I think people really need to take from this particular call. It's time to really make a choice on what you're going to do. There's no higher source than what the Bank of International Settlements is. They changed the structuring of the Tier 1 reserves and what countries can hold for a safe haven. And they introduced a platform that they're going to use for the digital asset trading system. It doesn't get any higher than that.
That's right.
If you are on the fence about what you should do, I think you should look to an institution that has a license that could possibly help you. And stop listening to the broke people, in Wiley's words, about what you should do.
Exactly. The sniper, he don't miss.
He done said it, y'all. He done told y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all better listen.
Yeah. Kathy, Miss getting ready to go to an art exhibit with a bunch of chefs. Kathy, does all this make sense to you? You want to add anything here?
Oh, yeah, it makes total sense. And it's just logically moving forward, which is really nice because it's real. And and again, to the people who aren't set up, it's so well worth it. And the 8 steps work, but read all the text below the 8 steps too. That gives you the background if you're unfamiliar with some of this stuff, because you have to be comfortable talking about it, and then you'll get their attention.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
You're right.
Yes, indeed. Wiley, you want to take us home? Anything you want to add before we get out of here, my good man?
No, I'm all good. Look forward to another good week and more movement for everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much, Mike and Kathy, Peculiar Ram, everyone. We hope that you all got so much tremendous value out of this. No matter where you're at listening to this, if you haven't became a subscriber to the Goldilocks Global Banking News, do so. You don't want to miss these daily updates by Goldilocks. Join. You can click the link at the top of the description and join the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room, where you can meet many, many members that are already set up and structured, like Peculiar Ram, Kathy, Mike, and others. And we will help you as well. Everyone, we love you. We appreciate you. Have a good night. Be well. Be kind. Stay in love. Everyone have a good night. Ciao.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.